Hello everybody. My friend has a Thermador 30-inch dual fuel stove, about 20 years old, has a control panel that looks exactly like this one. So this video is for those of you who have this control panel or a similar control panel which has a bunch of relays which might not be working properly. So the symptom on his oven is that the lower element was not turning on. The broil element, the upper element, was working, but the lower bake element was not working. So before I go any further, let me just give you a disclaimer here. If you are not familiar with electricity, don't have the skill or the knowledge to be performing some of the things we're going to show you in this video, don't do it. Voltages are 240 volts here, so those are lethal and they will kill you if you. And with that disclaimer, I will also mention that please subscribe to my channel. I intend to put a series of videos out on this particular repair. Originally thought it was going to be very involved, replacing a relay, redoing some wiring, etc., etc. It turned out to be very simple. So this video will focus on that simple solution and the simple problem we had and how we fixed it. But because I did the research on solutions, if it was a little more complicated, I'm going to try to document some of my thoughts around other repairs and other troubleshooting you might want to do if your particular failure is not similar to the one you see here. Here's a picture of what that timer looks like. Sometimes it's called the clock module or the main control board, but this is what it looks like. This is the front of it. Here's the buttons you normally see coming through the front glass. And then here's the back of the control right here. These are the two relays which control the broil and the bake. And by the way, let me add one other tip while we're on the subject of relays. If you have heat in your oven and you're wondering why you have a little bit of heat, if your bake element or your bake relay or the bake control circuit's not working, where's the heat coming from? Well, the heat's coming from the broil element. Normally when you have the bake element on, the broil element is cycling on and off, even if you're not in the broil mode. That's basically what the board looks like. It is used in a lot of different models, and apparently the most common part number is a 486-752. And that number, according to this particular website, that number can be used to replace any of these Thermador numbers here. The 1433-347 is a very common number. And there are a couple other numbers here. Here are some other common part numbers for that board. And here's a common list of Thermador model numbers that use this particular control board. So it's a very popular board, and I'm certain that the failure mode we're going to show you is very common, but perhaps is not as well documented as we're going to attempt here. You have to be very patient in getting this control board out. There are only 4 screws that hold it into place in the 4 corners, and then the wires that are attached to the back of it. Take pictures of the wires so you know where they're connected. But once you get the control module out, you're going to need to get the circuit boards out of the enclosure. And step 1 is to remove the top cover plate here from the unit. And the way you do that is there are 6 tabs, one here, here, and then 3 on the bottom, one here, here, and here. Those tabs to be depressed, and the 2 halves of the enclosure have to be separated. Fortunately, we didn't take any video of this, but hopefully this picture will be good enough to point you to where you need to start. So start with those 6 tabs and gently this cover off of the assembly. After you get the bezel off of the front of the clock screen, you're going to want to get the circuit boards out of the carrier, so out of their enclosure. And this is not our exact board, but this is how it's done. You see this little tab here? There are 4 of these levers, and you pull this tab up to be able to release this little triangular piece from this notch. So when you pull that lever up, you're able to peel this plastic surround off of the circuit boards. So there's 2 of these, one covering this half, and there's another one covering the lower half. That's how you get this to the circuit boards. And once you've done that, you'll be able to just gently open the two circuit boards. Here's another view of it. Here's the lever you want to move. You can see one of them here. There are four of them. Top one here in this view has already been removed, but you want to remove both of them. So gently open them. Now you're going to have complete access to repairs that need to be made. This is not the board we were working on. This happens to be somebody else's board on YouTube, but I thought I would show you their picture. It's very, very good and very full for this repair. So here's my friend's actual control board. We have it open. Here is the carrier frame that's been removed. And right here is where the problem is. This is the K2 relay, which controls the bake element. And if you want to check continuity, all you have to do is put your meter on the resistance scale and connect your meter to the quick connect on the other side of the board marked E9. So be 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth quick connect over marked E9. That actually happens to be L1. Attach your meter to that. You're on a low resistance scale. And if you touch the outer copper trace here, you should have continuity, but you should also have continuity to the center pin. And if you very gently touch that center pin, provided you're making good contact with it, I would push straight down on the pin rather than in this direction. Push straight down onto the pin so that you're not forcing the pin to come in contact with this copper trace. But you'll find it's probably open circuit, and that's where your problem is. There's no connection being made between the center pin, which connects to the relay, and to this copper trace, which connects to this quick connect here. So that's L1 of incoming power, and this explains why broil works but bake does not. So L1 comes here, and it goes to this pin here and this pin here. And this pin is the broil element pin connection. The broil element relay is over here. These four connections. And the bake relay is here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the two connections to the coil, and these are the two relay contacts that open and close. So if there's no power here, there's no L1 here at that pin, there's no way to get power from here to the bake element, which happens to be in E7. So the whole problem is right in here. Good connection here. When this relay closes, you get the broil element. When this relay closes, you don't get a bake element because there's no power being delivered between this point and the center pin of that contact. Sorry for the bad picture. This is where the bad connection was right here. I scraped off some of the solder mask so I would have access to a little more copper. I went pretty heavy on resoldering this connection. In hindsight, I really regret not having come back. New boards are almost impossible to find, but there are many companies out there that will repair a board for you. Connections. So if you're in here and doing it and you have the soldering skill, just make sure you get this terminal as clean as you can. Get that solder mask off of there, and that'll give you a nice good connection between the copper trace and that pin which connects up into the relay. Before you click away, let me draw your attention to one other problem we noticed. Totally unrelated to the lower heating element not working. This terminal right here, which is terminal E8, came out of the stove just like this, bent at this angle. We notice that this terminal is very, very loose. And in fact, the solder connection was broken on the other side. You need to straighten this terminal up and resolder the other side while you have the board apart. I suspect that when you put this control board back in, you'll see how tight the wiring is and how easy it is to bend this. So pay attention to those, I think they're blue wires that were coming up to this connection here. Straighten this tab up and resolder it on the other side so you don't have a problem here. I'm sure this is not a one-off problem. This is clearly an assembly issue on the Thermador production line. So fix that while you're here. And so that concludes my video for today. Be sure to check back regularly here. I will try to put some links in the upper right hand corner throughout this video later on when I have links that link out to the schematics if you're interested, and some additional troubleshooting you can do to determine which element it is, which relay it is, which circuit you're going to be looking at, what color wire you need to be looking at, and where your problem might be. If you found this video helpful or informative, be sure to give me a like, and be sure to subscribe if you want to get access to the other videos related to troubleshooting and repairing these old Thermador oven controls. So thanks for watching.